Why do certain locations suffer from unequal internet access, and what can be done to fix it? According to the United Nations, internet access is actually a human right. And you better believe that when the UN says that internet access is a human right, it's definitely a social justice issue. In fact, the digital divide is something that has been plaguing the internet age for years. And while that may open up a different can of worms, internet access in a university setting, at least in this day and age, has been significant in advancing the academic position of students. Impeding the access of students directly limits the ability of students to not only participate and receive grades fairly, but it indirectly impedes on free speech rights. In fact, according to PBS, people without access to broadband that also lack digital literacy aren't eligible for a lot of the jobs that are created in our economy. So, what's being done about something like this? Well, we're seeing Google Fiber slowly start to pop up in certain cities, but as much as you think Seattle would be a prime target, we haven't even been reached. A lot of what we found was other universities getting creative with their bandwidth, allotting a certain amount to students per week. The University of Texas is a prime example of bandwidth allotment, allowing students a certain quota of bandwidth that, when exceeded, will drop students to a lower performance network for the remainder of the week. It should also be noted that UT offers, once every year, a chance for students to reset their weekly bandwidth by taking a bandwidth awareness course. In another example, the University of Utah utilizes student funds to fund a campus modem pool, which is completely free and available to the students to use when they need to download resources or materials on the infrastructure network. It would seem that what the other universities do is offer external options while providing a standard service. So how does this tie back into UW-Bothell? Well, lucky for us we had some students offer up their perspective. What are the primary options you use to access the internet related to schoolwork?
Wired most of the time, unless I'm on campus here and I'm using my phone, it's usually wired or wireless.
It would be Wi-Fi, it would be wireless, but my computer's network card is broken, so I use wired, which is terrible. But I also use a lot of 3G.
Generally Wi-Fi. Like pretty much unless there's something I need to download, it's Wi-Fi.
It goes between wired and Wi-Fi, honestly.
What internet access options do you use for school communication?
Wired or wireless?
Wireless.
Whatever's convenient, really.
Okay, well what about research and reading?
Wired.
Wireless.
I prefer Ethernet since it's a lot faster.
Viewing videos and multimedia?
Both wired and wireless, and 3G.
Same. Whatever's convenient. Whatever's convenient.
Wireless, unless it's being really slow, then I'll hook it up.
Downloading files?
Wired.
Wired.
Definitely hook it up to that.
Submitting work?
If it is a big file, then I use the wired connection. If it isn't, just Wi-Fi.
And submitting work, whatever's convenient. Mostly Wi-Fi. Mostly Wi-Fi.
Wired. Wired.
Is there anywhere on campus where you experience particularly poor connections?
Oh dear God, are you kidding me? Right outside this room. Beardsley is pretty terrible, but the second you get into this room itself, it's miraculously 5 or 4 bars.
I find the worst service in the bottom of UW1. The bookstore actually has really terrible Wi-Fi, if you ever try to sit in that lounge. And oddly, the library. Sometimes if you're like in the middle of the tables in the library, it sucks.
I know that I can experience some pretty bad Wi-Fi when I'm in the UW2 building sometimes.
In general, is your internet connection off campus better than it is on campus?
Yes.
Yes.
No. No. That's a definite no. So, here at work when I'm wired to Ethernet compared to when I'm at home and wired to Ethernet, the connection here is much, much faster.
For the first, period of time I was in school, the connection here was much better, but now that we have fiber optic, my connection at home is superior.
Do you make use of the internet while in class?
Yes. That's just like the nature of the degree I'm going for.
Yes.
I see no need for it, so no. If I had a laptop, I probably would, but I don't have one, so I can't really justify it either way, I guess.
Yes.
Are access options a barrier with regards to participating in or completing schoolwork?
No.
No, it's usually actually the opposite. It helps a lot.
No. It is
Okay.
a help. It is more of a help than not having any internet at all.
What do you think is the primary challenge for using the internet for schoolwork?
I'd say it's the access. That's just what I think it would be. A lot of people don't seem to have it, and I think that's what the big problem is.
Do you have to list just one?
For schoolwork, definitely cost of access. If I didn't live with people more affluent than I would not be able to afford the great internet connection that we have.
I'd say the biggest one is not being able to get a connection, but that could happen almost anywhere.
So, from this, we drew some conclusions. At UW, most people think the internet is just fine, with the exception of a few dissenting opinions about the UW1 basement and the UW2 commons. Our research showed us different ways that universities and schools provide services to their students. Things like dedicated bandwidth, a modem pool, or even something as simple as an Ethernet cord checkout system might prove more effective. Our group feels as a whole that incorporating any of these systems, while they may take a bit of infrastructure to build, they may be worth it in the long run. If we can have a modem pool and allow for greater distribution of Ethernet cords, that would increase internet availability for students. At any rate, with some combination of these options, maybe we can make those tough access points a little more accessible. Internet access in this day and age is a must, and as a campus, UWB has to stay on top of new emerging technology solutions. And maybe one day, we won't have to move 30 feet to the left to get that strong connection that we've always wanted.